So these people were confused about hashing. So I wrote a little program. I thought I was streaming. I get so confused. I was not streaming. So we define a table that's a power of 2, and that is so we can take a and to modulo. It's a linked. The hash table is an array of pointers, and each one of them is a linked list. And when you add an entry, you chain it to the next in the linked list. So it's an array of linked lists. And we hash the string by multiplying the total by 2 and adding the ASCII of the character. When we add a string, we hash and then take modulo the table. We look up the table entry, then we search the linked list. We go down the chain, looking if the string matches, and we have a use count that we're keeping track of. If we find it in the table, we increment the use count. Then we go on to the next one. If it's not in the table, we add a new entry in the table. We set a use count to 1, and then this is a pushing on the stack of the linked list. It adds to the linked list. Here's a program that reads all the words from a file and adds them to the hash table. So when we run it, the first time it gets the word hash, it says 1. The next time it gets the word hash, it says 2. The next time it gets the word hash, it says 3. Next time, 4. Break 3, break 1, break 2. So, there. I'm sorry, I thought I forgot to restart the stream. When we add a new string, we hash and then take mod. This guy's not clear on the concept of a hash table. You don't resize a hash table. Well, if you do, you recreate it. Let's see if the knows what a random number is. The brain cannot understand what a random number is. The brain cannot understand what a fucking random number is. First, beacon-generated random numbers cannot be predicted before they are published. Second, the public time-bound authenticated nature of the beacon allows user applications to prove to anybody that it used truly random numbers not known before a certain point in time. Third, this proof can be presented offline at any point in the future. It's hardware random numbers. You go to this page, it has a batch for this minute, and here's the batch output. So what we are going to do, the nigger brain, well, let's go ahead and do some. What do we do? This is the spreading confusion. The wants to obfuscate and make everybody. The CIA wants cattle. CIA wants cattle who are too stupid to do anything but shit. CIA wants cattle. They're trying to confuse people, trying to make cattle. They are going to get fucked by God. The CIA and their herd of cattle. They want to confuse people. The poor kids are going to be confused on what a hash table is. Because that's too dangerous for them to understand. According to the CIA wants cattle. They're going to stop teaching them multiplication. Because they want cattle. They're going to make it confusing. They're going to clusterfuck how they teach multiplication and division so they can have more cattle. Bill Gates and his yippee-yi-yay cattle niggers. Cattle. The cattle might be a cowboy. And cattle is a cattle that's a. Okay, what are we doing here? We're doing brain cannot understand. Your brain cannot understand what a random number is. I don't know what the fuck is the malfunction of the CIA. What is your fucking malfunction? You want to get clubbed by God? You have a death wish? The has a fucking death wish. The has a fucking death wish. I can understand the cattle not understanding what a random number is. But the other people are just as stupid as the cattle. Son of a bitch. You hired absolute morons. The CIA is cattle. Isn't that hilarious? Fucking CIA cattle. I've been talking to them like they're white with their fucking cattle. Derp. It's probably fucking Indian. Google has cattle. They don't seem to know what a random number is. The Google cattle. Atheist cattle. Dissatisfaction of the wording of the note. One would have thought quill drivers enough had sprung up, remarked the old prince. There in Petersburg they are always writing, not notes only, but even new laws. My Andrew there has written a whole volume of laws for Russia. Nowadays they are always writing, and he laughed unnaturally. There was a momentary pause in the conversation. The old general cleared his throat to draw attention. Did you hear of the last event in the review in Petersburg? My mentor was Peter. This is Internet Archive. Everyone hates Ticketmaster. Peter Gadwa. That's not Peter Gadwa. CIA account. Okay, what are we gonna do? Let's listen to the radio.
Tap the screen to support what you'll be listening to next. Wherever you browse on our site, the audio continues uninterrupted. Can I ask you a question? You know the way I have to admit, I have this theory that I was the soundtrack to people's past, and that is kind of an awkward thing to be, because then it's always like a bit of an embarrassment. It's like, well, people have had like deep experiences to your music. It's like, how do you move on from there, and how can anyone ever forgive you if you do? And if at any point you sort of let people down along the way, it's a huge responsibility to have meant something, and it's a huge honour, obviously. I was really like amazed that it touched people, but at a certain point, you know, and I get people saying, oh, but you used to sing like this. It's like, dude, I don't sing like that anymore. I'm much older and I have a different experience. That you were in that music that you made in that time and the sounds, how do you look at her and that musician, and how does she inform who you are today? I think I look at myself like a big sister now. It's not like a parent, but it's like a big sister, and I feel very protective of who I was and how it was to become famous for something that was very personal and very quickly and unusually and what a privilege, basically, ultimately, of course. I want to play one other song from the new album. Let's listen to Flesh and Blood. second chances. It's about life after life, you know, rather than life after death. It's like going, oh my goodness, I'm still alive and I have another life to lead. Hang on a minute, like, how did that happen? Did you have that awakening? Yeah, I definitely feel like I had that awakening. You know, I gotta ask you what triggered that awakening. Well, I don't know, maybe making this record, maybe having my family, you know, my husband and my kids, and I don't know, and maybe ill health of my own, but sort of I've been managing it for many years. I have Crohn's disease, but I've found an amazing diet that's changed my life, and just an attitude shift maybe as well, and just like, hang on a minute, it's hard to say. See, that's why I put in the songs, because I did, otherwise, and even then I'm not even entirely sure what I'm actually saying. But, you know, is anyone ever really that sure? So I have a compulsion to write, I think. I have a compulsion to put words into sounds as much as anything. Beth Orton joined us from the studios of the BBC in Brighton. Her new album is called Kids Sticks. Beth, thanks so much for talking with us. Thank you. Every Wednesday here at Weekend Edition, we have it.
So, what do you want to talk about, Mr. God? The gorilla that died. Speaking the English. What do you think? Speaking the English.
Eine Woche vor den Landtagswahlen in Baden-Württemberg, Rheinland-Pfalz und Sachsen-Anhalt hat Angela Merkel die Alternative für Deutschland AfD scharf attackiert. Merkel sagte der Bild am Sonntag, Zitat, die AfD ist eine Partei, die die Gesellschaft nicht zusammenführt und keine geeigneten Lösungen für die Probleme anbietet, sondern Vorurteile schürt und spaltet. Man müsse sich jedoch trotzdem öffentlich mit der AfD auseinandersetzen, so Merkel, und zwar mit einer
No speaking Sie Deutsch. No speaking Sie Deutsch. What do you think of chatbots, Mr. God? Google chatbots. Okay. What do you think? Why is this messed up? What is your malfunction? Shit. What the fuck? Four 6-0. So, what does God think of Google chatbots? A present to your majesty from the Empress. It was a portrait painted in bright colors of Gerard, of the son born to Napoleon by the daughter of the Emperor of Austria, the boy whom for some reason everyone called the King of Rome. A very pretty curly-headed boy with the look of the Christ and the Sistine Madonna was depicted playing at stick and ball. The ball represented the terrestrial globe and the stick in the other hand a scepter, though it was not clear what the artist meant to express by. Shit, I don't know. Dud? Doesn't know what a random number is. Magician's Act. The CIA. So I asked God who He would want to model Him if we painted a new Sistine Chapel. He said Ben Franklin. I think it was a joke. It was a joke. Extravagant spirit, full of forms, figures, shapes, objects, ideas, apprehensions, motions, revolutions. These are begot in the ventricle of memory, nourished in the womb of the pia mater, and delivered upon the mellowing of occasion. But the gift is good in those in whom it is acute, and I am thankful for it. Nathaniel, sir, I praise the Lord for you, and so may my parishioners, for their sons are well tutored by you, and their daughters profit very greatly under you. You are a good man. You are a good man. Okay, we have to do a good miracle. You want to do a Moses comic? What are we doing? Why is there's no news? The internet shut down. There's like no news. I live in a fake internet. Why is my PC slow? I should reboot. So you like, I don't like the standard template library. I like to do it from scratch. Ah, shit. We can see Fortran. Fortran. What about? So, what the fuck is? TempleOS is divine intellect. You see, we ran out of internet. There's nothing left on the internet. Output binaries don't even link to libstdc. You realize I wrote my own compiler and everything from scratch. The CIA wants, I don't have to argue with the CIA. The CIA says, what, you want to program on hardware? You're a terrorist. I say, suck my fucking cock. Say hello to Mr. God. Suck my fucking cock. Little CIA. Surrender to the IRA, Mr. CIA. Fraser is a dumb fuck. Doesn't know what a random number is. It doesn't matter because God is perfectly just, and the enemy cannot win. It's impossible. It's impossible for the enemy to win. Just wait. Even if Fraser keeps me in prison for 5 years, the enemy cannot win. Here's random words. You see, the brain cannot understand what a random number is. You see, the nigger brain cannot understand what a random number is. Says to SETI, why don't you put Markov on your SETI antenna? Wouldn't that be cool? This little here. Why don't you put Markov on your SETI antenna? That'll be so cool. Fucking doofus. The fuck, man? Why don't you put Markov on your SETI? It's okay. God wins in the end. The CIA can fuck around for 5 years, 10 years. Then it just builds up the punishment.
And climbs all the way to a prince, from a prisoner to a prince. And we learn in this study that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. Now, let me ask you this question as we start. Do you believe that? Do you believe that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above what you ask? Not only do I believe that God can do that, I believe that God will do that. Now the Bible says that promotion doesn't come from the east or the west or the south, but promotion comes from God. We could say promotion doesn't come from men, promotion comes from God. Therefore, if you are a man pleaser, if you try to manipulate the situations and circumstances so that you can take advantage of people who may be able to promote you, you basically are wasting your time. You really need to live your life in such a way that God is pleased with you. What is important is what God sees, because God is the one who promotes. Now, if there is a marker of the life of Joseph, at least one of them would be that during the early part of his life, from the time that he was born until he was 30, the man went through some hardships. He faced difficulties. For the last 13 years, as this chapter opens up, he is 30 years old. For the last 13 years, he has spent them in Egypt, in slavery, and in prison. He has been betrayed by his brothers. He has been slandered by his master's wife. He has been forgotten about by friends in prison. Joseph went through a lot. I think it's safe to say that you have not gone through as much as what Joseph went through. These experiences in the life of Joseph could have very easily have made him bitter. But I think that we learn how God uses hardships and difficulties by studying his life. Why does God allow us to go through hard times? Why is it that we face difficulties? I think Job finally got a hold of it. Joseph suffered a lot, but I don't think he suffered anywhere near as much as Job, do you? Out of all of the people in the Bible that suffered the most, Job is at the top of the list.
And highs and lows balance. So if you suffer, you get rewarded. That's how it works. Oh, that's good. I win in the end. That's how this story ends. The CIA wants to be on the losing side. They're doubling down on atheism. And he has just had a basin of beautiful strong broth, sir, replied Miss Bedwin, drawing herself up slightly and laying strong emphasis on the last word to intimate that between slops and broth well compounded there exists no affinity or connection whatsoever. Ugh, said Brownlow with slight shudder. A couple of glasses of port wine would have done him a great deal more good, wouldn't they, Tom White, huh? My name is Oliver, sir, replied the little invalid with a look of great invalid. Well. The brain cannot understand what a random number is. We can go to Geiger counter random numbers. The brain cannot understand. We're going to take the first 5 digits and use them as the first five decimal digits, use them as a line number. 17685. Thing which the Lord had not spoken, but the prophet had spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. When the Lord thy God hath cut off the nations whose land the Lord thy God giveth thee, and thou succeedest them, and dwell in their cities and their houses, and thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee in the midst of the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it. Thou shalt prepare thee a way, and divide the coast of the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to inherit into 3 parts, that every slayer may flee thither. And this is the case of the slayer which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hateth not in pastimes, as when a man goeth into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and the hand fetcheth the stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor, that he die, or shall flee unto one of those cities and live, lest the avenger of blood pursue the slayer while his heart is hot, and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him, whereas he is not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in pastime. You had your warning. The brain cannot understand what a random number is. An Eskimo said, "Yeah, there's a little Christian girl that died. She had such a sweet little cross on her grave." That's why we slaughtered you. The Indian says to the missionary, "You have to turn the other cheek, right?" And the cavalry says to the missionary, he says to the "You're real funny, Injun." The Indian says to the missionary, "You have to turn the other cheek, don't you?" The cavalry says to the Indian, "You're real funny." Are they all meeting in Japan? There's a meeting in Japan. In Japan, there's a well, shit. Okay, there's nothing going on. I'm gonna just shut down. Fuck. Could do Moses comics.